This is going to be the second game, theoretically, of the amateur hour weekend. Technically, there was a first one, but it was mainly one team versus a whole bunch of Dallas bots. I don't mean the Dallas team, I mean actual robots, which I think was a pretty fun match to watch, but just unfortunate for Dallas that they couldn't show up. Now, meanwhile, we're here now with the Philadelphia versus London squad, and I'm here with my color caster, D-Mac Daddy.
What's up? Yeah, D-Mac Daddy's my father. You can go by D-Mac.
All right. Well, we should be good to go. We've had a little bit of a struggle so far trying to get this started, but I believe that now is the time. We're ready to get straight into the game on Volskaya. Both these two teams are in pretty interesting positions in the league at the moment. London right now is technically in fourth place. They have not a lot of space between them and some of the teams right below them, so they're going to try and pad out a little bit of a victory here. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Poggers are smack dab in the middle of our table in seventh place, so they're going to be looking for not just a win, but a dominant one in order to try and get into these first stage playoffs that we have coming up next weekend. So both these teams are going to be playing for a lot, and they're both going to have to try and not only win, but win big. So let's go ahead and get right into the action.
Yeah, no, here on Volskaya, you can really see, a variety of comps here on offense and defense. Wouldn't be surprised to see some goats pop out. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Bastion. To maybe think about countering that. So definitely going to be interesting to see what these teams break out for us right now.
Yeah, it should be interesting, especially because we see on both of these teams that they have really strong DPS players. Andy is particularly powerful, really, at just about any DPS that he plays, but especially on this Hanzo. Sangern is also, or usually, pretty good, strong backbone for his team. So it's looking like a lot of this is going to depend on who has the better DPS line this time around.
hmm Yeah, definitely like watching the Singer and Farah. That's, he can really put in a lot of damage on that, and his barrages are normally pretty successful. So, as Farah, the barrage is normally a death sentence, but with him, you can at least get, two to trade for his one life that the barrage is going to cost. So that would definitely be interesting. I think he's also brought out the Tor before, so don't expect it here yet, but maybe we'll be able to see that.
Don't take my hopes and dreams away from me. I want to see the Torb play. Please, just once more before the change eventually comes through. I need to see
Yeah,
it.
I mean, if Torb isn't going to be a meme pick anymore, I mean, what's even the point?
If Torb isn't a meme pick, why even play the game? Blizzard trying to fix the game and making it worse instead. Name a better duo. And we're looking for a pretty strong defense. Double spam. This is, from the side of Philly, seemingly a comp meant to counter goats. Not a
Right,
bad
yeah, they're not.
idea.
If they're not seeing goats on the other end, we're seeing a triple support comp. So it'll be interesting to see maybe if some changes come out. But on defense, you can't really make too many changes. So let's see if this attack can work out, even though it's not necessarily going against what they want it to go against.
Yeah, and right now they're just kind of poking at each other. It's pretty possible that the side of London have seen that they aren't really playing against what they perhaps expected to, but they're deciding to push in anyway, getting a lot of free space here to start with. It's Heil, completely separated from the rest of his team. He'll be the first to fall. Someone tries to go after and save him, that being the Ana, but instead he overextends a little bit, and he will also go down as well. This is not going too well for the side of Philly. They're losing numbers and not getting much in return. Blazing Puncher trying to salvage this, hiding out until he can find a better angle to support his team, but he will go down as well. There's going to be a lost point for Philly quite quick, only basically a minute into the round.
Right, yeah, Philly got pushed back there pretty easily, and then the dive tanks there for London really coordinated it really well in that attack. Very consistent, and they basically, pretty easily took that point A. Now they go on to point B, looking to snowball here.
Yeah, and Snowball they just might, considering that one DPS is already down on the side of Philly, somehow falling off of the map. They also don't have any ultimates to really keep this going, other than Blazing Plunder's Tower, which manages to find two. That should be them managing to hold this. One res comes through, but there's still a numbers advantage for Philadelphia, and this still shouldn't be that difficult to hold at this stage. It's kind of just a numbers game now, trying to stall out the point, but
yeah,
they fall one after another.
Yeah, the kills start coming in for London now, and it's looking like like Philly might be in trouble here. They don't have any ults coming online either. You know, they might have the Nano. That's going to be tough to get off here, and there is the cap.
There's the cap, very quick, not a lot. It's unfortunate for the side of Philly there that they just so happen to fall so quickly. Still 6 minutes left for the opposing side.
Right, yeah, I mean that's that's kind of the benchmark for a really good Volskaya attack is the 6 minute mark, and they they managed to reach it, so definitely a huge attack there for London.
Yeah,
Let's see if Philly's going to be able to match it.
We'll see if Philly can try and try. They'll have to. However, it is going to be pretty tough. This is just the way that 2CP goes sometimes. Sometimes you just snowball quite uncontrollably. I'm still very curious as to what exactly caused the Philly Pharah to fall before the fight even began. And even then, after getting a pretty fast numbers advantage off of the back of a Riptire, they still weren't able to capitalize on it. So, everything seemingly just fell apart for Philly, no matter what, even when they theoretically had that advantage.
Yeah, what happened there was Colonel Dino, he got the res off on the Bridget, and that only took out one from the Riptire, so then they were able to get one pick back to even, and so that res was really huge because not only did you res a player, you res a Bridget, which we all know is a pretty good character to res.
Balanced hero, by the way, support, by the way. And now, looking at the defense here, we see actually dive tanks. Kind of an interesting defense here. Triple support, Andy on the Hanzo, and dive tanks. This is kind of a bit weird, to be quite honest, and I'm not sure how well it will manage against this very beefy composition that Philly's going to come out with here.
Right, yeah, quasi-goats comp coming out for Philly. Pretty strong, especially on attack, so let's see if the dive tanks are able to coordinate well enough to maybe get the healers.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the fact that theoretically Philly's squad has an advantage in longer drawn-out fights, having the more healers and more sustain. And we're going to see that as they first off take out such a huge pick onto not only Roddery but also Wesley. This should be another quick pick for the side of Philly this time around. They're going to love to see that. They just need to try and finish off the rest of these stragglers. Yeah, it's going to be even faster.
Yeah. So Sangern, loves seeing the Pharah play for him, but the Zarya play is popping off right now. It's a huge play, and you were mentioning that Philly can outlast them. They didn't even need to because they just deleted the whole team right away.
Yeah, now
they're looking for a snowball of their own.
Yeah, now we're seeing a swap coming in from London. Actually, a couple of swaps. They know that what they were playing right then can't possibly beat what the opposing side is running, so they're going with Andy on this far. The other team does not have a hit scan, so Andy should be basically fine. They find the first two picks, and that should be a good hold from them, something that the side of Philly was never able to manage.
Yes, so now we're seeing Philly, just back out a little bit. The snowball ineffective. This Pharah should do a lot of work, at least right now, against what Philly has. So Andy's getting a lot of damage in on there, and that's good for London.
Yeah, good for London, and they're actually going to basically guarantee at this point that at the very least they're going to have more time than their opponents, assuming that this goes into a second round. Still 6 minutes left to burn, though, and Philly doesn't want to give this up just yet.
They're going to rally before the fight starts here. Interesting ever since the nerf from 150 to 100. A lot of times you might see it better to rally during the fight, but here they decide to add on that armor before the fight starts.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting how the dynamic of that ultimate has changed. It is now generally agreed upon that it's better to use it around about 2 or 3 seconds before a fight starts, but let's be honest, it's never a bad call to use a rally in any position, and they find the first pick onto Mana. That should be enough to basically guarantee them winning this fight, and
Oh, they're
ultimates are
going to commit
still being
grab to
put
it.
in.
No, they trade. Yeah, they trade the grab for the Transcendence. You know, that might be a win. They are considering that was a lost fight anyway, so trading that grab for the Transcendence on London's side might end up being a win for Philly.
Might be a win for Philly as far as ult economy goes, however, it's still a win for London as more time being burned on that clock. Really well done from the side of London here. They're managing to find, they managed to get in the swaps that they needed, and they're actually having a bit of a stable hold here now. Managing to hold this for
the
now
interest of
about
all
2
three
minutes.
support. Sorry about that. All three support ultimates coming online now for Philly, though. They're using the rally once again before the fight starts, but let's see if they try to beat in or how they manage their support ult too, along with that shatter.
Question is, will the support ultimates manage to survive against the might of this barrage, assuming that Andy finds an opportunity? He finds a pick on the Blazing, and now he has a position. Is he going to use the barrage? He sees the back of all of his enemies, but they get the sound barrier just in time, so he only manages to find one. He's looking to pick off Mana, and still, no one can hit Andy all the way in the air up here. There's no one that can take him out, and he's just having free reign to shoot into the backs of all of his opponents, but he's not finding the shots. He's not managing to actually finish off any of these kills until he gets a little bit of help from the rest of his team, manages to actually find 2. Now Andy
that's a
still,
big res again.
Andy's still just trying to pick off Sengern here. Sengern kind of an odd ultimate committed to the fight that was basically already over.
Yeah, and that's one, you know, it's not gonna you're not gonna trade that for anything. That's just a lost one. So, you know, interesting. It really seemed like Philly was gonna have a chance there, but the res on the Bridget once again really stabilized them.
Yeah, so many things just so happen to be going in London's way here, and now some swaps coming through. Philadelphia now not only have 1 hit scan, but 2. They've decided that they've had enough of this Pharah running the ring, but Andy did so well in that extended last fight, never going down, always doing damage, that he actually has his barrage again. He's going to be looking to at least pick off Blazing Puncher before this fight starts, but now he has a position. The help of the barrage and the shatter, he manages to find 2, and that'll be another 1-team fight for London.
Right, and coming back from the spawn room, Roderick's gonna have his Transcendence, or okay, yeah, gonna res him there. Transcendence coming in for this next fight, so you know that should counter grab pretty well. Yeah, now they're going Lucio Bridget support group. It's pretty interesting. It's not super high in the healing front, but let's see if they're able to be aggressive with it.
Yeah, that's a actually really interesting sort of healing comp. It's kind of, you know, it doesn't have the sustain that you would expect. They're kind of going for a very aggressive sort of healing strategy here, but they're not the only ones. Andy's going right into the enemy team, also being a bit aggressive himself. Hits Hull, pins Turbo Garment off the map. A lot of aggression here coming out, all in favor of London.
Sengern, though, able to take down his counterpart, and the Barrage Transcendence combo is huge there, getting both supports. Massive. Now 2 support ultimates coming online for London.
Andy wants to try and hunt down Sengern. He will manage to confirm the kill. Look at how much time has been burned here. About 4 minutes now. Down from what Philly began with.
Right, yeah, Philly had a chance to snowball it, but just couldn't quite do it in that first fight, and now it's looking pretty dire for them. You know, obviously they're going to try to get over a minute, but that's going to be really tough. It's going to be really tough here. A lot of ultimates online, though. They have EMP, Soldier Ult, Shatter, and Grab. So let's see if they're able to capitalize on that and cap out this point.
Honestly, they have such a perfect storm of ultimates here. EMP and Grav and Shatter. This should be absolutely impossible to deal with, especially with Blazing Puncher now going around the backside. He wants to be in an unexpected angle to pop this tactical visor.
He ends up falling down there. Here comes the EMP.
Tactical Visor is trying to take out Colonel Dino, but not managing to actually secure any of the kills. Meanwhile, the shift might be shift might be occurring in this fight right now as Andy manages to find his barrage again and get the kill onto later layers. Such a huge pick to start the fight off. Bridget again does so much in these team fights. Andy getting her a little bit harassed by both teams' hit scans and only just now falling. But I don't think that there's enough of a clear-cut victory for the Philly side. They are still managing to take out more and more of the opponent, but keep in mind that really all that London has to do is put them into overtime. If it goes into overtime, then the side of Philly will not even get a chance to have another round. Meanwhile, London will have 6 whole minutes to just cap the first point. So many picks going out, it's looking like they might even not manage to cap this to begin with as their line falls. Roddery doing so much damage. There's not enough time. No one will be able to touch unless Sandgren manages to run through the entire enemy team. London's going to be able to hold them from even capping second. It's going to be London winning the first map.
Yeah, London winning that first map pretty decisively, really. Towards the end, Philly ended up getting a tick, but other than that, that defense was really strong, especially when they could have been snowballed. But they prevented that and ended up, who needs another round? We're just going to outright win this.
Who needs another round? Basically 7 minutes. A 7-minute hold of second point. But when it's 2 CP, it really do be like that sometimes.
They don't say it be like that, but it do.
They don't say it be like that, but it do.
We're seeing Turbo, not on the Lucio, on the Reinhardt there, and the main tank, so...
Yeah, Turbo's actually been making quite a name for himself as far as that flexing goes. He's now managing. He's at one point basically known as the Lucio one trick of the league. Now we actually see him on the main tank role quite often, and now we're going to be going on to Nepal where Lucio is going to be especially powerful. So maybe we'll see him go back to his roots, or maybe he believes in his teammates just enough to win without his legendary Lucio wall riding plays. Let's see. It doesn't... Okay, sub. So Roddery is going out of the game. Grubmark is going in.
Now I have to ask, are we going to see the Bastion?
Are we going to see the Bastion? Are we...
On the control point. Be interesting.
Well, it would be interesting, wouldn't it? It would be an interesting thing to see the Grubmark Bastion make its return here and now. I wouldn't be against it. Philadelphia still probably having some PTSD flashbacks to the Route 66 map, where Grubmark's Bastion did quite a number on them previously. Looks like everyone is ready and good to go. And even if they aren't, well, the pause button exists for a reason. So let's go ahead and get right in to Nepal. Should be interesting to see which one of the maps we start out on. Every single one has a really different playstyle associated with it. I actually like Nepal quite a lot as a map for that reason. But it's going to be this one, the temple.
This Shrine? One? Yeah, I'm not sure. One with the elephants, and one with the Lucio / Wrecking Ball pillar in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Now it should be interesting to see how this goes down. As you mentioned, this is quite a good hamster map because of the pillar on the point, as many of these capture point maps are, or as many of these Koth maps are. I would like to see it, and it looks like Itzhal might be leaning towards showing that off himself. But this map, there's a lot of different approaches that you can take to it. You can play the spam composition and rain fire down onto the point from a distance. You can play goats and fight on the point and never leave it and force your opponents off. It's looking like both these teams, if their current lineups stay as they are, is going to be an interesting experience.
Right, yeah, at first I was like, okay, London's insta-locking goats, but now maybe not. Okay, yeah, they're
No,
the
no, it's
naming,
always goats. It's always
yeah,
goats. That's the joke. The joke is if
and,
if it looks like goats, it's always goats. Um,
and Philly going with the new age dive comp here with the wrecking ball instead of Winston. So let's see if they're able to coordinate that. Wrecking ball's kind of hard to zip in on console especially. So let's see if they're able to coordinate the Diva and wrecking ball play here.
Wrecking Ball does quite a good job against, at the very least, disrupting and delaying goats, but as the first man falls on Philly's side, they're not going to be too happy about that. They need a lot of damage to come out here from their DPS line, and with him being the first to go down, they're basically going to have to give up this point before it even really gets started. Blazing already manages to find his blade, but he's not going to be able to pull it out here unless he basically just wants to throw it away. He'll need to try and escape as the rest of his
Or
team
if he wants to
falls
show
one
off,
after another.
how quickly he got it. Yeah, he wants to show off how quickly he got it. Look, I got that in the first fight. There goes the Reinhardt.
He manages to find one, but his team is all just now managing to respawn. He's trying to contest this point all on its own. A bit of a misplay, I would say, from Blazing Puncher. At the very least, an optimistic blade.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're looking at both supportals coming online, and Transcendent's obviously the big one there, but here's London once again deciding to go with the rally before the fight begins. But Beat Coalescence coming online too. This is going to be another tough push for Philadelphia. Let's see if they can get ults out of London.
Yeah, honestly, I don't even think that Philly can expect to win this next fight. I think that they're just going to have to go in for a dry push and force out some of the sustain that the side of London has, and it's a lot of sustain grouped in with that armor and the two support ultimates. Sengern goes in with his pulse bomb, manages to do a lot of damage but not secure any kills, and that's going to matter quite a lot here. They manage to find a D-Mech, but it'll come right back in as the bomb goes off. Bit of a reckless pin goes through, doesn't manage to find anyone, but Andy does. It's Howell also using his minefield. Things are getting a little bit shaky in Paradise here for Philly. They're not managing to secure any kills. They just don't have the burst damage for it, and they seemingly don't have a certain level of coordination required at the moment either. Against this Goats
Right,
composition...
they had nothing. Yeah, they had nothing to block that shatter. Turbo's gonna have a free shatter here because they don't have shields. They didn't have. I don't even think they had any kind of stun unless Hamster would be able to hit something crazy. So that was just a free shatter for them, and they still have Beat. They still have Grab going into this last fight.
And Sengern might fall almost immediately. Just so happens to get a little bit of healing, but he's still so weak, fighting so low to the ground on this point. He keeps going down to like 2 health before finally his supports manage to save him. This fight is finally looking to go in Philadelphia's way at least a little bit, but again, they have the problem that they've always had. They're never able to confirm these kills, and after enough time passes, the tide will turn, and Philadelphia will again be the ones back on the back foot, even though at one point it appeared that this fight might have been theirs to take. That's going to be an easy 100-0 capture from London on this first go-around.
Yeah, when Philly got that pick on the Moira, I thought, okay, this is going to be their chance. They get their big healing out of the way, but then, they lost their Zen moments after that, and then from there, Lucio, Bridget, enough to sustain them for that fight, and just not enough damage coming in from Philly. The pulse bomb might have been big if it could get a healer, but really just build up their supportals because, after that nerf, it's not going to kill tanks. So, yeah, just interesting to run dive into the Goats comp there. Didn't work out too well. Let's see if they're going to be able to have a little bit more success against this triple tank comp.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting strategy that they're going here. Philadelphia going for full boop strats as well as Blazing Puncher to hopefully protect them if the fight gets in too close. Meanwhile, the opposing side of London is playing what I would consider a fairly standard composition of triple healer, dive tanks, and Hanzo. A lot of damage can be dealt, but a good pull will already take out Moira before the fight even begins. Pick will come in onto Sengern though, so the fight will get evened up. It's Howl struggling so bad here. He's just getting bug zapped by the Winston through his shield. And after enough time passes, again, London going to manage to bring this back around into their favor. Mana gets in a little bit of an exposed position, will be the next to fall. But this is just the story of Philly not managing to beat London and these sort of aggressive style that they've adopted here.
Right, and I do like the strategy of Philly going for the full boot comp because if you're going against goats, if you're going against the sustain, a good way to get rid of that is just dump them off the map. They can't get healed, they can't get res, anything like that if they had a mercy. So I do like the thinking of it, but it's not working out too well in practice here because of the aggression of especially the two tanks for one good.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like right
Bad
now we're in a
choice.
bit of a mismatched situation. Again, it's a nice idea. Blazing Puncher now on a bit of a detour. I'm not quite sure what he's hoping to achieve here. Um, he will probably get spotted out by Turbo Kermit as they're just feet away from each other. Turbo Kermit completely misses him. And now it's just on Blazing Puncher to try and execute someone, but he hasn't getting close enough, so all he's going to do is alert an entire enemy team of 6 as to exactly where he is, and he has to try and escape. Numbers are still even now after the res comes through, but no progress is being made for Philly here. Blazing Puncher again trying to find some damage, but against the support hero Brigitte Reaper, the damage hero can do absolutely nothing. Balanced hero, by the way.
Especially against the armor. Yeah, the armor, for some reason, Reaper isn't good against armor because of his shotgun, something or other, game mechanics. So, yeah, the Reaper Bridget matchup, it doesn't go in favor of Reaper too often.
Reaper, I actually think the Reaper's quite bad. Pick against Goat's composition. Sangern managing to try and find one and a D-Max, so hopefully this is going to be the start of Philadelphia managing to turn this around. They're just trying to deal.
Ultimate.
They're just trying to deal with Konal. He's just not leaving the point ever, and so allowing the rest of his team to find a little bit of leeway back in before Blazing immediately shuts that down with his ultimate. Also finding a third. Finally, Philly will find at least 1 point capture in this entire map.
And it only took 4 ultimates. 5. Only took 5 of the 6 ultimates, so there you go. Just that's just how tough it is against ghosts or against the heavy healer comps. Is you really have to absolutely blast them away.
Yeah, that is the case in point, I suppose. And now they're only going to have one little Lucio ult to try and survive against the storm of the enemy team's ultimates. Dill Pickle will manage to pop it, but not before a lot of his teammates have fallen. Sangern using this barrage, but it's getting ate by the D.Va. He'll get rezzed immediately, but it doesn't manage to go through, so this is going to be Philly again. Not managing to sustain on this point, being the first to fall again and again. They didn't have the ultimates to try and keep themselves alive compared to the overwhelming force that London had. And this is going to be London, more than likely, taking this all the way to the end. It's Heil tries to contest for as long as he can, but it's basically over at this stage. The only thing that London will be able to do is get in, or the only thing that Philly will be able to do is get in a sort of tacit defense and stagger onto the point again and again until finally London will secure a second map.
Yeah, and like you said, it was really just the ultimates. Philly had to use too many to get that point in the first place, and then after that, it was just press Q to win.
Press Q to win. My favorite game mechanic. Yeah, I mean, we saw so much. Honestly, as difficult of a time as the side of Philly had that entire round, I think we can still also pin a lot of that in just how effective Andy is as a DPS for London. Andy managed to find a lot of ways to even up the fight at basically any single point where an advantage started to go the opposing team's side. And again, I just think that at a certain level, the composition difference here is so insane.
Mm-hmm.
You just, when you have one side with so much healing, you need to find some sort of way to block that. Perhaps an Ana nade. Perhaps more burst damage. Why not try and get a little bit insane here and actually run the Bastion, who can chip through all of that healing regardless. We have no idea what works here and what doesn't. Now, I hope we see a little bit more experimentation, because at this stage, Philadelphia is going to need it.
Right, yeah, they really tried to run, a quasi dive comp into it, and they weren't coordinated or just didn't have the damage in order to get to the healers or just get rid of that sustain. Yeah, so like you said, the Tracer Genji is just so tough to run against the triple healer comp, especially when one of them's Bridget, because Bridget was put into the game to counter those heroes. So just really, you can get a quick blade, sure, but then, you know, like you said, like we saw, you're only going to get one with it, and then they still have three supports to heal up their other characters.
And
Heroes.
now going into this next round, we're trying to. Okay, so we want to get in Athena onto the Philly side. Uh, However, the problem is that for whatever reason, Athena ain't appearing online for me. I'm not even sure. Hmm. Hmm. This is a this is an unfortunate little issue that we're having here.
Philly's going to make a surprise trade for Grub at halftime.
Yeah. Rodri is going back in for Grubb, so it's not a bad play. I mean, London so far has won regardless of who they've put in.
Right?
Athena Amari finally joining in, and now we should be good to go. And again, even if we aren't, that pause button does exist for a reason. Now we're going on to another map here of King's Row. Pretty good one. Pretty good map. I think most people would agree.
Oh yeah, legendary map. It's for me, it's the map in Overwatch. It's the one you want. It's the Rust. It's the Nuketown of Overwatch.
The
You
Nuketown
know,
of Overwatch. That's actually a really apt comparison. I like that. All right, looks like we are good to go. That's what everyone's telling me. Let's get right into the action as Philadelphia tries to claw back a victory from the jaws of defeat here. London is fulfilling their duty here of trying to get a really dominant win at the moment. So, really, at this stage, it's just going to be Philly trying to shut them down as opposed to actually gaining much of anything other than hopefully at least a bit towards their map differential. So let's go right in to King's Row.
that's interesting. Athena with a different icon. We'll have to see if that messes with the team chemistry. It might be.
Athena with a different icon. Yeah, you hate to see it. You hate to see.
You hate to see it. Hate to see it.
Now these two teams, let's see. It's going to be the side of London attacking first. This is the way that we've decided to run the league, always having one side attacking first for the entire set, always having one team defend first for the entire set. It's a decision. Um, so
Yeah,
far it
and for
hasn't.
me, it's always. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So far it hasn't. It hasn't seemed to, from what I understand, affect games too positively or negatively. So I guess to say okay, but take a shot every time Trevor says you hate to see it. Shut up, Thrill.
Yeah, well, for me, it's always kind of nerve-wracking to be on defense first because it's like, oh man, if we get rolled, like it's just gonna feel bad. The team's gonna get upset. Um, but then it also is. I think it's technically supposed to be an advantage because then you know exactly what you have to do on the attack. Um, so it just. I guess it does really. It's probably pretty even in
Well,
all
you
things
see,
considered.
for I believe there is actually statistically a little bit of an advantage for the attacking team as far as Overwatch is concerned. Like the actual map win percentage is favored towards the winning side, but I just like attacking first because then I can play something like a surprise hamster ball or a surprise bastion, and they won't be able to be ready for
Hmm.
it. As if I had play it on defense, and it looks like no surprises here. The side of London is going to be playing a goats composition, and the side of Philly is going to basically be trying to play counter goats with this spam DPS comp.
And they're gonna go hotel here. This is kind of tricky. This can get really tricky to defend. And oh yeah, that bridge got really cut off, and that is unsavable. This is
Unsavable now, but they are managing to find a little bit of a hope and a prayer as they take out the opposing side's Brigitte. Managed to trap the Reinhardt, but the sides are still, the bodies are still falling on the side of Philly. They're going to have to give up this first point and try and group up to defend on the streets phase as fast as they can. They just need to run away at this stage. Sengern managed to get really close to getting an ultimate that probably might have been able to salvage the fight, but because he wasn't able to secure it, they're just going to have to give it up. Not even a minute passed, and the side of London already taking first.
Yeah, now, they get a little bit, Turbo Current, I guess, maybe a little bit overextended there, and Athena's able to step in and get that kill, but the spawn's so close, he's just going to walk right back. The aggression was probably worth it in that case. Andy is really playing extremely well, able to finish off a lot of these kills, which is extremely important, obviously, in Overwatch. I mean, Philly's not quite able to do yet. Andy's doing a great job.
Yeah, not just Andy, but the rest of his team now doing a good job deciding to push in with these ultimates that they've gathered. Athena still has this tire and looking to secure something with it. Does manage to get the kill onto not only Wesley, but also the D-Mech. So it's going to be the side of Philly, again, managing to at least find something. And Turbo Kermit almost manages to get a pin, but he dies mid-process. So Philly deciding to defend basically in the enemy team spawn. I love selfless strats.
Selfless Bible thump. Yeah, but you see both support or two support ultimates coming out from London there, so that's big for Philly to win that fight after both support ultimates or two support ultimates, and now the grab comes out here.
Grab comes out with the combo of the barrage, manages to find 3 kills. That should be all that Philly needs to win this fight as well, and it's looking like that's going to be the case. Now they're just pushing in, trying to catch off any stragglers, but Itzhal's so far away from the rest of his team, he needs to get a little bit of support, or he's just hopping all the way back to his squad. Andy's now swapping onto the far. He's decided he's not okay with Sandgren having this air superiority this entire time. However, the difference is that whereas Sangern will have mana to pocket him, Andy has no supports who can really pocket him. However, on the ground war, London already winning, finding 3 before Andy's even able to get a word in edgewise, and now it's going to be the side of Philly on the retreat yet again.
Yeah, that shatter was so huge. I don't think Philly was expecting them to go that direction there. Kind of the flank shatter got the Mercy and the Rhine. And from there, they can just walk right in. Massive shatter there.
I know that I wasn't expecting it. That's why I didn't catch it on camera. Anyway, the side, as far as this next fight's looking to go, keep in mind that Athena still has this tire, and she'll be able to get into position right quick. But Sangern also coming up on his barrage. We haven't seen much of Sangern dueling the opposing far. He's kind of just ignoring him this entire time. Athena popping this tire. Wait. I don't even know what happened to it, but the slam comes down. That should be everything that they need. Sangern tries to salvage it with the barrage, but it's too late. They've already capped second.
Yeah, here for Philly, it's not lost though. This third point can be very hard to defend. Interesting to see. I wonder when Expert Mana is gonna end up breaking this Valk. Valk isn't a huge ult, but he's been holding it for a couple points now.
Yeah, it seems like they're kind of hesitating here. Some players on the side of Philly popping ultimates almost off of cooldown, but others waiting perhaps a little bit too long. Itzhal manages to find 3, but his team is grabbed, so not a lot can be done until Sangern manages to get in on a good angle. Sangern now pushing in almost alone, just with his pocket, manages to get in on a good angle before finally shifting himself away. Athena has her tire again. It's only been 15 seconds or so, but she already has it. Or at least only feels like 15 seconds.
Yeah, but she, spent a lot of time at half health. It was a bit scary with that fire strike. You don't want to lose an ultimate right here, because then London can easily snowball, make it very tough for you.
And now Andy,
here.
Andy, off the back of that shatter, managing to find 2, but Sangern has a barrage of his own. He's not afraid to use it. Only manages to find Andy though, so it's not going to be too strong of an ultimate.
And here Athena's thrust into importance here. Game 1, this tire has got to be huge. No other option, no other ultimates really coming online for Philly. This has got to be big.
Tire gets popped. What will it manage to find? He sees a couple of them in a row, and he manages to find 2, evening up the fight. Now it's going to be Turbo Kermit dueling a Brigitte, a tank dueling a support. It's a balanced hero, by the way. Anyway, We see a lot of the side of London coming out of their spawn doors, but that's where all of them are getting sent back to anyway. This is going to be Philly managing to hold. They have to hold right here at the very end for 2.5 minutes, and we're seeing some swaps coming in from the side of Philly.
Yeah, that May can be really good at this point, especially when they have to come here. You can wall them off, maybe try and get a pick. That cuts off a lot of the healing, which is obviously huge. Only 2 ultimates for London, or 3 ultimates now. So this is going to be a tough defend here for Philly.
Yeah, Wesley as well has his ultimate here, the Graviton Surge, and the question is if he's going to stay alive long enough to use it. He manages to get healed up by the rest of his team after getting pinned. Now it's a little bit of a splat fest here. Itzhile doesn't really seem to know where exactly he should be going. There's too much healing on the opposing side. He can't connect with anyone and actually do enough burst damage to get anything done, but Andy decides, now is my time. This is my place, and of course Sandgren shuts him down. He gets the res anyway. Is this going to be, again, a little bit of a war going on for the point here? Sandgren coming up on his barrage. He wants to find it. He wants to get at least one with it. He pops it, but gets taken out by Conald. That's going to be London, getting it all the way to the end with quite a respectable amount of time remaining.
Right, yeah, over a minute's always something you want. And there, the May pick was, was interesting, but I just don't know if they were, really froze a lot of people, but not able to, once again, I feel like a broken record here with Philly, but not able to capitalize and finish the kills on those freezes. The walls were pretty effective as well, but just not enough follow-up on them to be effective, and wasn't quite able to get the ult either. But interesting pick. I do like the pick, especially after an ult, but just didn't quite work out with the follow-up.
Yeah, it's just, this seems to be the story of the day this entire time. It's just been the side of London leaning into how many supports they have. Yeah, you love to see how well they keep each other alive.
Trivia, I hate to tell you, but I think you said the wrong one in terms of Conald.
I said
whichever one is right.
Conald.
The chat.
I said Conald. Yeah, he's incorrect. I said Conald. See, here's the problem. I've been saying Conald for quite a while, right? With really no issue. But Conald doesn't like how I pronounced it. But it's just my accent.
Chat doesn't like it either.
It's just my accent, right? So
That's a cop out.
I can't say it the way that he wants me to say it. When I read that, I say it as Conald, like Conald. But he says I say it as Conald. I don't even know what he wants from me. All I know is we're now back in this fight. Really strong DPS line for Philly here. They want to take a quick pick here. Unfortunately, they're the side that's going to fall first. It's Hull in a bit of an interesting position. Goes for a pin, but now he's stuck in enemy lines. The picks are still going in favor of London here until the res comes out. Sangren up in the air trying to find something, but with Philadelphia losing their main tank and losing that shield so quickly, it's going to be difficult for them to make any sort of progress here other than a little bit of chip damage.
Right, and the Tracer is going to be pretty effective against this. Especially against Ryan Zarya, kind of has a tough time with it. If the Hanzo can't get a headshot on her, the Tracer's really going to run wild.
Yeah, now it's just Wesley finally being taken out first to fall, but they do have a res and it will come through. So while the res has been burned, it's still 6v6 brawl here. Sangren looking to change that, but it's going to be Hull who manages to find the first pick that actually matters in this fight. Now Sangren has this ultimate ready to go. The Valkyrie has also been popped. Sangren, so close to the ground, manages to use his ult and find one. That will turn the tide of this battle into Philadelphia's favor. They want to take out Roddery, but this is basically it. Philadelphia managing to cap first. Not nearly as quick as the opposing squad did, but fast enough that they're going to be okay with it.
Yeah, and there I really like the combo of the barrage and the dragon. The dragon cut him off, and then the barrage from Sangren was able to get the stragglers. So you have a choice: do you want to die to dragon or do you want to die to barrage? Not the best choice in the world, and that ends up giving Philly the point.
Really impressive that Philadelphia managed to get in those kills despite Rodri popping that Transcendence as well. They just had so much burst damage and their targets were already so low to start the fight that they managed to finish it off right quick. And now Cybersource is going to be looking probably to find a support with this Pulse Bomb. It's not a bad idea. Goes in for the assassination and whiffs. We don't need to talk about that. It's Hal fighting the rest of the enemy team on the point right now, but Wesley's going to get in this grab first. Counter ultimates coming in from both sides, but how will the end of the fight go? It's looking like it's going to be London still taking the victory over here, mainly off of the back of the fact that they just managed to keep their teammates alive a little bit better than the opposing side, even though later popped his Transcendence and Rodri did not.
Right, yeah, so here we see an advantage definitely with the offensive ultimates here of Philly going against the defensive ultimates of London. Obviously, the Valk, I don't even know if it counts as a defensive ultimate. It is an ultimate.
It is an ultimate.
Yeah, so we'll see if they're able to get Transcendence out before they grab and before they dragon. Maybe try to get it out with Barrage, or, vice versa.
Bit of an interesting flank here coming from the right side. However, it's going to be spotted out basically immediately because they let themselves be known. They do manage to find Cybersaurus, who perhaps went a little bit too deep in enemy territory. Now the ultimates are coming through, and that should be enough from Sangern and Dillpickle to get all the kills necessary. Sangern also getting a nice final hit onto Andy, so a lot of space is going to be gotten for the Philly side here. It's going to be just a little bit before second point cap that this next fight starts.
Right, and Athena with a huge pick there on Rodri, getting rid of that Transcendence, forget trading with anything. I'm just going to kill the Zen. Just kill the Zen, forehead.
Just kill the Zen, lol.
Yeah, and then don't have to worry about Transcendence anymore. That really worked out well for Philly.
Yeah, exactly, and now Ital has this Earth Shatter, but he'll die before he can use it. Turbo Current does not have the same problem. He dies after he uses it. Both sides lose their Reinhardts. Cybersaurus gets a bit deep into enemy territory, but manages to get out because of that 600 HP shield, and Philadelphia is going to have to backtrack a little bit here. They're going to get staggered more than they'd like, though.
I really like the reses coming through from London. He's really helped turn the fight, and really seems like he gets off every single one he wants. Hasn't been too aggressive with them, and able to turn the tides.
Yeah, Conal's done a really good job of resing people whenever he can. Just generally a pretty good Mercy player so far into this round. But now we're going to be looking to see if Ital is a good Reinhardt player. He's gonna need to find the Shatter if he wants to get a good, clean fight win here, especially considering that Rodri still has this Transcendence. They're going around the back side, and Sangern will pop a bit of an optimistic ultimate, but it opens the door. Andy, on the other hand, manages to find 3. He knows exactly where the enemy team is, so he pops off that dragon.
Now, I do like from Philly there's, you got basically team wipes. You don't really want to go into that hallway with the Hanzo, but at least later didn't panic press Q because the fight was probably already lost. At least they're able to keep that Transcendence for this fight. They still have Valk. They still had that Hanzo, but it'll be interesting to see if Dillpickle is going to be able to get that grab before this round's over. As a minute.
Yeah, it's interesting that you point that out. It actually was a really good call from him. Now they have the Transcendence in order to save them from this grab here. Both sides popping their trans. The question is, who will actually end up surviving once the healing goes down? The Shatter comes through, only manages to find 1 on the Philadelphia side here. Still a bit of a brawl, but it's Hilo getting boxed out away from the rest of his team. They're trying to salvage this with the Graviton Surge, managing to find 3, even up the fight score at the moment. It's currently a 4v3, make that a 5v3, make that a 4v3.
That Bridget almost 1v4'd Philadelphia there. Oh, and that's tough, going down to a Fire Strike. Let's see if... no, they're not going to be able to res that. Alright, so here they have the Hanzo Dragon. They might be able to get Singer's Barrage. But London here, they don't have any ultimates coming online, so if Philly's able to win that battle pretty quick here, they might be able to take advantage.
Yeah, and they're going to have to considering that this is the last fight. The overtime wick is burning down. Is anyone even going to be able to touch? Someone manages it, but that's about all that's going to be done. Athena tries to have a little bit of a hero play with this dragon, manages to find two, and in fact gets a third by the end. But even if you can kill half a team, if you can't play the objective game that this is based on, then you're still going to lose that round. London takes it 3-0.
Yeah, I think this is that transcendence there that we saw. That nope. That's me. That's still a big one. We take those. We take those.
We take those. His team still died through it. That's the insane thing. His team still died. So much damage just came out from right then. Well done from the side of London, getting such a fast and dominant victory here, but now they're still going to want to take this fourth map. They want to 4-0 Philly here to basically guarantee themselves a spot in the playoffs. It is about as good as they can do.
Yeah, this is definitely a place where you definitely want to play that fourth map. You know, this is such a pivotal matchup here. You know, London doesn't just want to win; they want to definitely not only send a message, but just add to their map score. You know, 4-0 would be huge for them here. But you know, for Philly, they still have a lot to play for. You still want to get any map you can.
Yeah, we do still have the end of season playoffs, in which case every single map matters towards the road to that. So Philly wants to try and bring things back around here. Question is, will they manage to deal with the dominant London support line? Again, I don't necessarily believe that London is really all that powerful here necessarily, at least compared to most teams in this league. I just think that it's purely a mismatch of that Philadelphia, they want to run this sort of double spam composition things, which makes sense on paper to deal with a lot of burst healing, or to deal with a lot of healing in general. But as long as they refuse to run an Ana, as long as they refuse to run something that can just cut all of that healing short, they're still going to struggle to actually confirm any kills.
No. Now here, you know, goats isn't. I mean, you can run goats anywhere. You know, it's just that versatile. But here on Gibraltar, probably not the best place to run it. Maybe the worst place to run it. So we might not see goats on this map. Might see more of a dive.
Yeah, Watchpoint Gibraltar, generally considered by a lot of people to be the best dive tank map in the game, and I would agree. We usually see the teams that are victorious run something along the lines of dive tanks or triple dive tanks or things like that. Some other teams have found success playing more cheeky compositions involving things like a Bastion, but that's more of an exception to the rule as opposed to the rule itself. So it'll be interesting to see if Turbo Kermit decides to stay onto this hamster ball. I would certainly appreciate seeing it. It is a bit of a weird composition at the moment, so it wouldn't surprise me if London changed up what they're running. But Sangern, now on this Ana, they've decided they've had enough of all of the healing from the enemy side, and they want to try and get in a good bio nade in order to cease that from actually keeping the enemy team so healed up for the entire round.
Right, and until just now they weren't on any kind of diva, so it was like, oh, you might have a free one. Now he has to make sure it's not eaten. Another triple sport comp coming out here from London. The Orisa, Genji, Widow.
Mana getting a little bit boxed out here. He'll be the first to fall, and the trade-off of now having that on is they don't have the Mercy to res that up, so this is going to be a permanent 5v6 for the moment for the side of Philly. You just can't stop Turbo Kermit. What a monster, just seeking and hunting people down no matter who's shooting him in the back. He creates so much space for the rest of his team to confirm all of those other kills in the meantime.
Or Dopig actually almost fell off the map there, but he was able to wait for that boosters to come back off cooldown, able to survive it. Now we see the Mei coming down instead of the Widow. Mei's not the best here, but able to wall off the Winston. Let's see if they're able to take advantage.
They almost managed to confirm the kill, and finally Itzhal will do the job for them. It's a bit of a weird sort of staggered defense on the side of Philly here. Their tank line is up at the top, their DPS line is trying to contest the point, and it won't be that sustainable, as we now see Itzhal still stuck behind the enemy team as they just walk the point, or as they just walk the payload right in.
Yeah, let's see if Philly's. I don't know if anyone got back spawned, but yeah, it looks like they did. You know, that kind of hurts Philly because you kind of want a nano blade here, or at least blade here, before that transcendence comes up. I'd be interested to see if they know where he's at with transcendence, or if they decide to try nano blade to get rid of that.
Turbo Cameron's doing a little bit of harassing on Mana here, and the Dragon will also come out. Dragon won't find anything, but maybe this Dragon Blade will before it gets shut down immediately. London just doing this amazing job of just never letting up on this pressure. They just go in deeper and deeper and deeper, and they've almost captured second point already, and really everything is set up for them to succeed in that endeavor. Sangern trying his hardest to keep himself and his team alive, but there's only so much that you can do. London just has a much more versatile composition here, and in an interesting twist, I would actually say that this is like the one situation so far where Sangern on Ana is kind of a bad decision, because there's not really that much healing right now for London compared to before.
Right, yeah, London, is basically running a dive comp with the Bridget, which, DPS, we'll count that as DPS. So, very versatile and, tough for Ana. Ana basically died when dive was meta, and now dive is meta for London here on Gibraltar. And, didn't get value out of the nano, so kind of struggling here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just in a map where mobility is the answer to winning the day, we're seeing London play an extremely mobile comp. Meanwhile, the opposing side is just not, and Andy is an animal, tearing through the enemy team, and now trying to stop the Brigitte from even being able to touch. They managed to finish it up with like 4 minutes left.
Yeah, I don't think the payload ever stopped. They got, I think they might have gotten a couple picks at the very beginning, but even then, the payload was moving, underneath the tunnel and just kept on rolling. That's the way you want to do it. Let's see if Philly decides that they want to go more mobile here. I was about to say, are we really going to go 4 maps without seeing it? And looks like we're going to see the Bastion here. It's possible.
Well,
it's possible.
Certainly a possibility, but I would appreciate it. Some might say I would love to see it, but it'll be interesting to see if they decide to play that. Bastion wouldn't be a bad call in general against the sort of dive tank strat that's been run for the side of London so far on this map, but it would be pretty easy to take down for someone like Andy, who's a really good Hanzo, or even now, well, not Wesley anymore, but Konald, who could just hack the Bastion. So if they do decide to go with the Bastion strat, just hack the Bastion. Lol. If they do decide to go for that strat, it would be interesting at the very least. I don't think the Bastion comp is the answer. I mean, we'll see. Again, I don't know if Mana is actually going to stick to this Bastion, or if he's a little bit more flexible in his choices here, but all answers will come in time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Winston does. I play Winston, and I hate seeing Bastion. It is no fun. Let's see if he's able to avoid the Bastion, or if he ends up getting melted.
Yeah, Andy trying to find a quick pick, and Mana isn't having it. Goes into turret mode immediately to box him out. Now Mana's a little bit exposed. He doesn't have a shield yet, and he's going to take a little bit of damage for it.
Yeah, he's in front of the shield. Not good. Dive coming in.
Mana gets dove and melted immediately.
Yeah, never mind about the Winston Bastion thing. Apparently it works.
Apparently it works if you just know how to focus the Bastion.
Yeah, I mean, Bastion's, not good against dive, especially an organized one in London right now. These dive tanks are extremely organized. They know when to get in there. And, just instantly deleted on the Bastion. Let's see if he's going to be able to set up again. moving to the Rhine, trying to be more mobile.
And now Mana's trying his absolute hardest here, but it's so hard, especially after you get displaced from the payload once to actually get in a strong position. And now with the loss of later layers, it's going to be even harder. Mana's not actually looking at the people who are doing all the damage to him. He's trying to take out people who are so far away, and it's just not happening. Athena gets, well, I'll call a lucky stick, or a lucky kill on the Cybersaurus there. Cyber kind of walking onto it. Now, will they be able to kill this Winston? Not before he primal rages. Winston gets slept and immediately woken up. Okay, we're seeing Athena and Mana swap their DPS heroes. Athena's now on the Genji and Mana now on the Pharah. They've decided that the Bastion strat just wasn't working. Heil also moving on to this Monkey.
They missed his first jump on the high ground there, but trying to maybe flank around here, get on that Mercy. But Fondini was able to. Oh, he's able to get that big pick. Monkey slept, and it looks like it could go the favor of Philly here.
Yeah, some ultimates are being
though.
Yeah, this is such a weird fight. Like 8 fights are happening in different places all at once. Ultimates are kind of just being thrown around haphazardly. There's a minute and a half left, and you know the side of Philly still hasn't made much in the way of good progress so far. And Andy is going to try and shut them down.
Yeah, and this little tunnel area is never somewhere where you want to take an offensive fight because the defense has a high ground. They can just wait for you in an open space above the hill and just rain down on you, or they can stand on the high ground. It's a really tough place for the offense. We're here Philly taking fight, but no one's on the payload. No one's moving the payload even though they're fighting in this open area there.
Yeah, and now they have an advantage in this fight so far, up until Andy gets res, but it's still a burned res, so Philly's not going to be too upset about that. However, they are going to be upset that their men keep going down, one after another, seemingly endlessly. 40 seconds left in this fight, and Athena tries to take out Andy before the next fight really goes down, but Rodri melts her.
Yeah, and here, Athena's going to have the Dragon Blade, but Roderi's going to have the Transcendence. There's no Nano in play here. So unless there's a big barrage here, it's going to be really tough for Philly to get value.
Yeah, Mana knows it too. He wants to get in a strong position, but he'll be caught out right there. I think this is probably safe to assume this is the end for London.
Yeah, tough pick onto the Diva there, running 2 off takes now. Just try to go. Immediately deleted on the. Yeah, no one even able to touch. That's tough. There's Andy with a huge play, 300 health. Hanzo, that's no fun. Able to cut off people there and spawn from prevent touching. He's definitely huge piece for why London had the success they did today.
Yeah, London taking the 4-0 there. Just gonna go ahead and say it. At every single stage, it looked like they were just completely outmatching, outplaying, outscoring the enemy side, no matter what, outcompositioning. It was like London became a Lucio personified.
Yeah, they're just untouchable. And really, yeah, not only did it seem, we never really saw a mirror comp today, so, kind of hard to compare. But London certainly had the superior comps, it seemed like. And then even if Philly tried to, counterpick, it just didn't quite work out.
Yeah, just unfortunate for the Philly side. Just looked like London were so much more of a well-oiled machine. Like, all of their moving parts just fit in together so much better. And then you had the addition of people like Andy, who was able to win fights basically all on his own with the help of people like Rodri. Wesley was also there. I don't think he did much, but he was there.
He was there, man. He was there.
he contributed something. Um,
Yeah,
it's just unfortunate for the Philadelphia side, but London is going to be quite happy that they got such a dominant victory here, and now where it's time for some post-game interviews. The question is, who exactly should we interview from both sides? I'm thinking, personally, that we want to go for the good old team captain of London, Turbo Kermit, to start with.
sounds good to me.
Grub, West. If Turbo Kermit doesn't respond, I'll get in West. Interview
Smile.
me, smile. Mana for Philly. I'll interview Mana for Philly. Sure. This is the unfortunate aspect of we don't actually know if they're going to join. So
Yeah,
we just kind of have to wait it out and hope that they're paying attention to
it's part of the excitement. Part of the excitement.
part of the excitement. I mean, even if there we go. Hey there, Kermit, how's it going? Hey there. So Lucio One Trick, by the way, do
Not
you have it
anymore.
set up so that you can share your voice on streams? Just go ahead and check party settings. It should be like in privacy or something like that. Uh, I'm sure that
That should do.
if they can't hear you, they'll tell me. Um, Now, Turbo, your team clearly did quite well here. What do you think you guys just did so much better that led to getting a quick 4-0 against the Philly side? Hold on, hold on, hold on. It
Yeah,
says that they can't hear you.
feels bad, man. Pepe is.
Yeah, just check party. It should be privacy in the party settings.
Yeah, go to party screen and party settings.
There we go. Okay, we should be good now. So anyway, just go ahead,
You should be fine now.
repeat. Yeah, just go
All
ahead
right.
and repeat what you were saying just a second ago. What do you guys think that you did so well against the Philly side that led to this 4-0?
Well, personally, I think Philly wasn't playing their strongest lineup, and that might be one huge effect on their loss against us, because usually the games have been tight, even though we have been the stronger team, like traditionally, like in the last league and this one. And I don't see us like doing different things. We play our dive comp, we play our goats, and I think it was maybe one key point that we decided to go for Connor and me both same time in the lineup to get that leadership a bit more in. And yeah, I have to say I like my main tank role.
So you just think altogether you guys didn't necessarily do anything too insane, but you just think that this time around, especially with Philly not being able to play at their strongest, everything just kind of went your way.
Yeah, I think that match didn't have any surprises on either sides. Like in my mind, I knew that the game will be like it happened to go, and maybe Philly side has a different opinions about it, but I'm I don't know actually what to say. Like
So you think this is business as usual. Of course, it was gonna
Yeah,
go this way.
well, not the cocky way, because I know Philly can beat us. They have done it last season as well. Obviously, two of their players are in our team now, and two of our players were in their team today. But like, we are quite even sides, and to be honest, like all the teams this season are quite even with each other.
So do you think? Do you have any particular uh, notions or ideas about how perhaps some of your teammates played? We saw some pretty impressive performances from Andy, Roddery, and, as Twitch chat tells me, West. So, do you have any particular words about how any of them played?
Yeah, I have to say, like, I'm really happy for Andy because he used to be mainly like a full flex player, playing Zen sometimes Reinhardt. Then he became a Hanzo one trick, and suddenly he plays all the DPS heroes like on a high diamond level, and I'm happy with it. West, he's underrated. He's really good, actually really good communicator in the team. And Rotary, well, what can I say? Yeah, I've played with Rotary for like 1 year, like almost every single day, and I know what he's capable of. People just have to realize how good Zenyatta he actually is.
So it's looking like going forward, you're saying that London, all the pieces are really coming together here. You guys are a strong team to look out for. I'm pretty sure that you're basically guaranteed to be in the Stage 1 playoffs here. So it'll be interesting to see.
I guess so. I guess so. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see, assuming that you guys are in, how well you stack up against some of the other teams like Houston, who's been particularly dominant so far. I'm pretty interested in seeing it. But now it's time to go ahead and interview Mana from the side of Philadelphia. So thank you for the time,
Yeah.
Kermit.
Sure. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Trivia. Thank you, Dima.
Thanks.
And now we interview Mana, wherever he is. Mana.
What's up, gamers?
Hey there, Mana. How's it going?
Hello. Pretty well.
Now,
Widow is insane.
hmm?
My Widow is insane.
Of course, obviously. I mean, if anyone could have watched that and not had the obvious takeaway that your widow is at least up there at like the top 3, then they didn't have their eyes open, for being quite
Of all
honest.
time. Of all time. Of all time.
Yeah. Just making sure, Amon, you do have your voice shared, right?
I think so. Let me check.
I mean, no one's saying anything about it, but I just prefer asking to check in the first place.
Yeah, it is allowed.
All right. So, Ma, give us a brief breakdown of what you think led to you guys having an unfortunate loss there, and in such
I
a bad way.
Quite a few of our ultimate economy, it's a bit mean, but our ult usage wasn't the best, and there were quite a few times we took a point, but we used 5 or 6 ults, which meant that we lost the next fight. Or there were points where we wasted ults, like sometimes we shatter, but our team would have all died to a Hanzo Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And also, in say like the King's Row map, I think we lost that because a few times we tried playing too detailed almost. Like if we just played simply and just run straight onto point, we'd have done better than trying to flank round. Because that just forced us through a lot of unnecessary choke points.
So you guys think that was ultimately pretty basic things like we used too many ultimates. We should have just. Why did we have this bad flank? You guys don't think that was anything too technical?
Yeah, I think London also just played a lot better than us on the day. Like some like Harmet and Cyber, well, there's a lot of not dealing with Cyber as well. Like the Brigitte, we left her alive for too long, especially when we were playing dive on the pool. So she just completely, like, especially on the ball, we just couldn't do anything against her.
Now, here's a question that me and my co-caster here had for about the first 3 maps. You did finally pull it out on Jib, but why did you guys never seem to want to play Ana against all of these triple healer comps that the enemy team was running? Do you guys just not have an Ana player?
Yeah, well, Later's a pretty good Ana. Well, he's just not. We didn't really want to play Ana just because Conald is a lot better than any of us could be.
Mm-hmm.
I'd put Conald up there, and Karma as well if he was on Ana's. Probably 2 top Anas in the league. And mine isn't good, and Latest, I haven't seen Pickles, but Latest is pretty decent, but it's not spectacular. So I think playing Ana would have probably been, well, it might have helped in the context, but I think it probably would have just led to losing the Ana duel quite a few times.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we did see eventually, even when you guys did pull it out on Gibraltar, that it still didn't manage to go your way, so maybe it did just so happen to be a little bit different than just a mere compositional pick, do you think?
Yeah. I mean, like, we tried not to just run straight up counter, we're running the same mirror comps, purely because London support, I'd say London support line is probably the best in the league.
When you have a team of 12 support mains, I hope. I hope you have the best supports in the league.
Our goal was to try and isolate their DPS or take them out, because personally I think our DPS are better than them, but it didn't quite work out.
So you think
and
ultimately
Karma made a lot more space than we'd expect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he did surprisingly well on main tank.
Kermit, Lucio One Trick, has apparently evolved into a Rhine main. Yeah. So, one final question before you go, Mana. This is a question asked by Twitch chat. What is it like facing West? And this is my question. This is my question. Why is he the weak link of the of the London team?
See, I wouldn't say West used to be a Philly player, so obviously we were all tactically throwing because we didn't want him to lose. He's just too good.
Of course.
I'd put West off as the best player in the entire league, honestly. If he doesn't get the season MVP, I'll be very disappointed. Like,
West for season MVP, T-Mobile MVP, Wesley.
Any team would want to pick him up. We're actually preparing a transfer bid of our entire team.
One man versus 6, the legend of Wesley. God. Alright. Well, that's about it for us. Pretty soon, we'll be back in with another map that was back in with another game that I believe was... When is it meant to start? It's meant to start like...
I think it's
4 o'clock, we're good.
So.
Yeah. We're still good. So,
right on schedule.
Yeah, which, for this league is quite a lot to ask for. So that's going to be it.
I guarantee one team will have a 30-minute delay in the next match.
Yeah, you're right.
Been long enough delays today.
Yeah, you're right. It always happens, doesn't it? Always. So that's going to be it for me and my partner here. So we've had a pretty good job. We've had a pretty good time casting so far, and pretty soon we'll be right back in with another game. Thanks, Mana, and hopefully your team will be able to come up with a little bit to go around for in Stage 2. Next weekend's going to be the start of the Stage 1 playoffs, so many teams like Mana's will have a bit more time to kind of come up with some plans, considering that I don't believe that they'll be playing next weekend at all, really. So, well, that's about it for us. Adios, everyone. I enjoyed my stay. Goodbye.
Au revoir.